Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Expert to Authority Show. My name is Simone Vincenzi, and I am your host. This is the show for coaches, speakers, and trainers who want to grow their businesses while making an impact in the world. Talking about impact, this is a part of a series where we interview some of our members on different topics that we have each month. And right now, the topic of this month, which you can find also in an article that a lot of our members have collaborated with in terms of the creation, is talking about what's happening in the winter time. Because we all know that the winter months, they can be a bit crazy for some. Like, in the summer, you have a lot of energy, it's warm outside, there's a great social life, and it depends on where you live. But if you live somewhere like me in the UK, then the winter can be a bit doom and gloom. And so, how do you keep motivated? How do you keep active? How do you keep connecting with others? These are the conversations that we have because they impact our mental health, they impact our well-being, and ultimately they impact our business. So today I have two of our members that contributed to the article. So make sure if you want to check the full article, you can click the link in the show notes and then read all the different answers that people gave. But today, I have the pleasure to have Joe Farmer and Claudia Romero here with me. And I'm going to start with Joe. Quick introduction, Joe, that you will have. So tell us a bit more about you, and then we go in particular exploring, in particular for autistic people, what is like living in the winter, and what are some of the things that can drive you crazy, and some of the things actually that you can put in place to cope and have a better life. So let's start with the first one. Quick introduction of yourself, Joe.
Obviously, I'm Joe Farmer. I'm a late diagnosed autistic female. Females tend to get diagnosed later because we mask better. We struggle. Um, Autistic people, basically, we don't fit into this world, but one thing we do struggle with is filtering out of the environment, um, which can affect our ability to actually want to drive actually in the winter to get around. So therefore our social life can be very, very different. Um, this is going to sound very strange to some of you, but if you can imagine, sort of if you are at a New Year's Eve party, music blaring, lights flashing, people moving around. You have to order a drink or you have to talk to people. Yes, you cope fine for one evening, don't you? You enjoy Chris. You can cope with it. You might actually enjoy it. But it's more like you, but we do not have the ability to filter, especially when we are tired. So what does this have got to do with just going out, seeing people? We can be over are undersensitive to many things, including light, sound, smell, taste, people touching us. You can be oversensitive when you're very tired. I can vouch for that from recent experiences at work from having been very tired. Um, so in the winter, you will often see me outside wearing a cap in the winter sun. This is no fashion statement. Not at all. I can see when lights are beginning to fail. I can see the colours of the rainbow around lights without staring at them. Um, and there's a difference between white lights and yellow lights, by the way. They give out different auras. So imagine if you're trying to go out and about driving and you've got these lights glaring back at you. You can't socialize. It's very, very tiring to go out. Um, at work, you struggle to get to work. You go there. and you've got open offices. They are very unpleasant. You've got sound bouncing. You've got bright lights. You've got people moving. So if you are sharing an office or you're meeting up with people um, at events, that can be a real struggle. Um, so trying to keep up your energy then, and then you of course you've got this thing called Christmas. Oh, it's lovely, isn't it? Going Christmas shopping, bright lights, blaring music, crowds, fairs with lots of food, which might make your stomach want to churn. And if you are trying to be creative and a business person, that could be a major issue. So I advocate for so, autistic people in those sorts of environments. You may have your own business, you may just be trying to work for a living. You're just trying to cope, to be honest. And one way of coping is you can have meetings online.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to ask is like what are some of the ways that you can put in place to cope? Because it feels like, in particular in the winter, is a lot. There is a lot of input, there is a lot of stimuli, there is sounds, crowds. There is no, you don't spend as much time outdoors, so everything is indoor in confined spaces where the volume is higher and so on. So what kind of things do you can recommend that autistic people can do in order to cope better, and also for people that are non-autistic to create a better environment as well that can be more welcoming as well for autistic people?
Um, to cope better, allow wearing headphones either to block out sound or I can spend working in offices wearing headphones, listening to music, or calming apps, um, to help get me into my own world so I can focus on that. Um, but still be a bit, but still hear over it. Recently I had to work in a quiet room because having had a very busy Christmas, I just literally could not cope with anything in the environment. I actually felt sort of hemmed in, squashed in. I could hardly communicate. And that is a form of it. Um, you just, you just you can't advocate for yourself. And in that room, I could turn the light right down, listen to music, do whatever I liked. Um, so if you had got the opportunity, say what you need to somebody who knows you, understands you, and says, yes, fine, we know where you are. If you're in an office, also, if you can find people who those people understand you, they may be autistic, they may be the welfare support group. Um, if you can tell them what to look out for, and then they can say, are you okay? Do you want to go to a quiet area? And actually, recently, I actually sent some people an article I did on autistic noise and silence. And this may sound quite odd. Somebody's quiet. That's fine. Are they fine? Happy? Maybe. Are they absolutely stressed out of their skull so that they cannot say anything because they don't know how they're feeling? They're so squashed in. Yes. And there's something in between. There's noise. You've had an absolute, there's meltdowns and shutdowns. Looks like sulking and tantrums. We are not trying to get anything from people. We are communicating. So the noise and screams might be, I've just had enough, I can't cope. Or it might be, I'm actually quite excited. And for one autistic person, one form of communication, one form of silence or noise might mean one thing. For another autistic person, it'll be something different. And it's just understanding that, stopping them before they get to the point of meltdown,
Hmm.
safe space, and that is a start point. And
That's a great starting point. I love that because this one means you can be proactive as well with the other people that are around you and check in with them. It's like, hey, is this okay? Is this too much? There is another space for you, so that you don't get to the breaking point where then is too much. So we can stop it there. I'd love to know because now we got to move on to the other question. So, Joe, if someone wants to reach out to you, wants to read some of the articles, because I know you do incredible work in particular as well in companies to help them as well, creating more inclusive spaces, to create to help as well non-autistic people understand what is like being autistic and what autistic people need in order to function at their best. So if someone wants to know more about that, what are the best places to reach out to you and to find out those information?
um, I do have uh I can be contacted on my email, but I'm on Facebook. I am Joe Farmer, the Autistic Mouse. There is information there. I also post as Joe Farmer on Facebook, and I can also be found on LinkedIn, Joe Farmer. Um, I have got a blog site, I think Joe Farmer, the Autistic Mouse. Um, so that is so you can actually get some insight. You can get into our world and find out why we're just so different.
Yeah. That thank you. Thank you first of all for the work that you're doing. Thank you for the content that you're putting out. And thank you for the insights that you gave today because in particular as we are on the topic of winter, then different seasons affect us as human beings in different ways. And in particular, if you're autistic, now they affect you in another different way. So having the awareness and understanding then can help you for everyone who is listening that is autistic to put things in place to have a better winter time, but also to everyone else that is not autistic, then to be able to be proactive. And if you know that you work with some autistic people, then check in, see what they have their needs, and so make sure you check the show notes and connect with Joe. Joe, thank you very much for being here today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
You are welcome. And now we are switching gear because we are going to talk about productivity. Now, winter time, I don't know. I found it that I just sometimes there are days that I just want to stay in bed, not even get out of bed. So normally I'm someone quite energetic and I've got a zest for life. And if there is someone who can get things done, I know it's me. But still, in the winter times, like, "Ah, can I just take this month off?" So Claudia, you are a productivity expert. So first of all, quick introduction for yourself, and then how do we can keep productive in those winter months? Over to you, Claudia.
Yeah, I would like to add something of the Joe. I found at least here in Edinburgh and in Scotland, many supermarkets have implemented an hour on the week. I think it's in Sunday morning that they have quiet time, so they don't put music. They allow less people inside the supermarket, so more autistic people can go and enjoy the experience of buying, and especially in winter, I think. So that is an initiative that I found very, very good. And not only because there are many children, for example, with sensory experience that they don't cope well. So it is a good initiative, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coming back to my topic, well, yeah, I'm a Claudia Romero, a productivity consultant and expert. And basically, I keep repeating this over and over and over and over again. Productivity doesn't mean that you have to push to do every single thing as fast as possible and be doing things. The basics is to understand yourself, your own rhythms, and not to push yourself to do something like other people are doing because it's working for them, but we are all different. So a person that is a morning person will be much productive during the morning. And people that have a different rhythm, like myself, I'm miserable in the morning. I tried to push myself to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and do everything. And I was the grumpiest person in my house, and it didn't work. My husband was grumpy, my children were grumpy because I was grumpy all the time. So the thing is that you need to understand yourself, your rhythms, and during the month as well, we have shifts. So we have those days that we want to be in bed and doing nothing, or in those days, read a book that will be productive for your business later on, for example. So I call control procrastination, so you can start to shift your energy according with what you want to do. It doesn't mean that you are going to be eating, snacking, and watching TV for 3 days. But if you do that, then don't feel guilty because you choose that. Choose it like mindful in a mindful way. If you want to procrastinate, it's okay. But then know that you are going to be in another gear and you're going to be 10 hours working, for example. And if that feels it is okay with your rhythms, that is great. But the main thing that I always say is each and every single day, give yourself time for you. Half an hour, 1 hour, do something for you like meditating, go for a walk that you can hear a podcast, for example, but you are doing something for you. Go to play basketball as you do. I do Pilates and Tai Chi, for example, twice a week, so one each. And I feel after that, I have this energy to, for example, create content and do something else. If you don't have that, and if you don't give yourself breaks, you are going to lead to burnt out, and becoming after burnt out is much harder than try to prevent it. And I'm not saying to suppress stress, because we need that quote of stress to get things done. And in winter, it's going to be a little bit more slow, as you mentioned at the beginning. Allow yourself to be slow. Everybody is slow. So everybody will understand that things don't go at the pace that you want or everybody wants.
Can I play the devil's advocate for a moment here?
Yep.
Because what if you have a lot of responsibility where slowing down is not an option? And you have a lot of demands, or maybe you have like a business which is a very busy period as well. So your external pressure tells you that you have to do X, Y, and Z, and every moment of the day is a working. It can be a working hour.
Mhm.
And then you have on the other side your body, which is like, I can't be bothered, right? So how do you deal when you don't have the option? Or
The,
you feel, or maybe you feel you, I don't know, like what do you do when you don't have the option to slow down?
okay, first, if you have a business and you have a team, probably you're not going to be in sync, all of you having like, I want to go and sleep. So because you are different, so
Yeah.
there will be someone that can take a load. So that is the thing, is to play to the skills of your team. If you are alone and you don't give yourself the break, probably you will have to take the break because your body is going to collapse and you will have to compensate a longer period of not working. So what is better? Maybe take 2 hours. Push yourself to do the things that you need to do and you have to do in a certain deadline. But there are many things that we put in our bucket that are not as important and you can delay a little bit. So the do, delay, delegate, and dump is a system that you have to put in place every single day.
Do, delay, delegate, and dump.
Exactly.
All right. Well,
Or delete.
or then just dump, like let's
Dump it.
get dump it.
I like the
Just
dump thing.
dump
It's
it.
like,
That's so useful because one is about remembering, okay, if you have a team, okay, if you're communicate that to your team
mhm,
and to the people that are around you, that that's what you're going through. And of course, that's an interesting dynamic even though, because sometimes depending on the environment in which you're working is like, well, too bad, just do it anyway. Right?
yeah.
You have these things like if something needs to get done, needs to get done. But on the other side, in particular, if you have also the luxury of working on your own, that you don't have every external pressure is a choice, is something that you've said yes to most of the time. Not everything, but a lot of things, if you're running your own business, they are self-inflicted pressures. And that's something that I tend to remind myself when I hit this moment when I'm like, okay, I got too much going on. But I'm like, I chose that. Like my situation is a result of my choices, so I can go back on my choices. I can postpone my choices. I can delay things. So remember that you have the power to change, so you can listen to your body more. If someone wants to reach out to you, Claudia, want to hear more about your programs or the work that you do as well. What's the best way?
Uh, in LinkedIn, I'm more active at the moment, and also my website is claudia-romero.com. And I'm always open to have a chat because I think this topic is very important and we have a life, and we need to live the life that we choose without getting burnt out. And I know, I understand, and this is something that I always talk with many people that when you work in a corporation, for example, yes, you have to do your work, uh, whether you like it or not, and you have a schedule. But that doesn't mean that after you finish your day, you switch off and you set the boundaries from the beginning to say, okay, my contract say from 9 to 5. So don't bother me at 5:30 to do things. If it's your fault because you are delayed, is another topic. But usually you can do whatever you are doing in the set time that you were allowed to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, there is a lot of power in that. And even if you're running your own business,
Mm.
I think sometimes there is a tendency of responding to things and something that I had to grow into it. But I found a lot of pleasures. Like after a certain time, I don't respond to any email, I don't respond to any messages. That's
As
it.
it should be.
It can wait tomorrow.
Exactly. The world is not going to fall if you don't answer an email.
Yeah,
I'm really
most
sorry.
of the, yeah, exactly, exactly. So, Claudia, thank you very much. Make sure
No
if you
worry.
want to reach out to Claudia, you can read the rest of the article and the answers that she gave in the article. So just click the link in the show notes and you will be able to see it. I want to wrap up with the final thoughts for me, from my side, because I think that there is a lot of power in seasons. And I've been going back to also what Claudia said and also what Joe said in different ways, but it's about listening to our needs. It's about listening to who we are and what our needs are, and every different season will give us a certain, whether it's energy or a certain ideas or tendencies. For example, I know when I often hit the winter season, for me, is generally a time where I love like restructuring things. Starts from November, like last November, December, January, February. Historically, for me, have been restructuring months. And I didn't even realize it until I put my mind into it. It's like, why is this always happening? And I think that just my body naturally, or my consciousness, or whatever it is, wants me to do things in a more efficient way. And I will take these months to implement new things, to implement new ideas, to streamline, make decisions. And I found that until basically the end of February, that's the energy where I'm often in. So my mind naturally will think, instead of growing, it will think on how can I do things better in a simpler way? What things can I get rid of? And then I hit the spring. And then the spring is like, okay, let's sell, let's market, let's get out there. So naturally I'm tending towards that. So my comment on this topic is, first of all, as Joe and Claudia said, listen to you, listen to what your body or your energy is telling you, because if your energy is already moving in a certain way, then you will make way more progress by aligning towards that energy instead of fighting it because you want to do something different. And when I stopped resisting that, because logically I had some goals that I wanted to achieve and my energy wanted to do it in another way, so I had this internal conflict. And when I said, you know what, let me just try to align in terms of where everything is going, then I made my best choices, got the best results, and life and business felt easier because I didn't have to use my energy to fight against the current. So my message is, find the current, whatever your current is for this season, and then follow that with projects, with things that know are moving forward, are moving you forward by following that energy. So with this, I want to say a massive thank you again to Joe and Claudia. Thank you for being here today. I want to say massive thank you to everyone else who contributed to the article. So check out all the other members. So check the link below on the show notes where you can find the full article as well. And also leave us a comment. Let us know as well. Like, answer the questions in the comments. How do you face this kind of darker months? What is how do you cope with them? How do you not cope with them? What do they mean to you? Or maybe you're not affected at all. Just let us know in the comments. I'd love to hear. And until next time, remember that together we grow exponentially. Ciao.